The first full trailer for Marvel's Fantastic Four First Steps is out, and honestly, nothing else about it matters. The gender-bent Silver Surfette alone is going to make the movie tank. Let's see why. Marvel's first family just can't catch a break, even if there is a new Fantastic Four movie every 10 years or so. No, for real, there has been. The first movie, made in 1994 under producer Roger Corman, was never officially released, even though an argument can be made it was the most earnest. You see, shortly after acquiring Marvel in the first place, Avi Arad acquired the rights to that movie and buried it, so it wouldn't damage the brand and future licensing deals. Little more than 1 decade later, in 2005 and 2007 respectively, Avi Arad produced the Fantastic Four and its immediate sequel, Rise of the Silver Surfer, for Fox. Both of which had their moments, but neither of which were all they could be. Especially not the latter of the two, as by this time Marvel was tooling up the MCU, which meant they suddenly started denying Fox access to additional characters that they wanted and needed for their movies. Little bit less than a decade after that, in 2015, Fox rebooted the Fantastic Four specifically for the purpose of keeping the rights away from corporate enemy Marvel and the MCU, using Josh Trank's Fant4 stick as their means to do so. Fun fact, that's when this channel was created as well. We spoke about the Fantastic Four and Daredevil then as well, so not all that much has changed in a decade. On that note, please like this video, check if you're still subscribed, and if you're new here, maybe you want to consider subscribing. Either way, at the time, fans recoiled at Fant4 stick, because they trusted no one but Marvel and the MCU to do Marvel's first family right. Since then, exactly 1 more decade has passed, and fans are kind of getting their wish, as Marvel are right now rebooting the Fantastic Four themselves, finally placing them in the MCU. But as I said, fans are only kind of getting their wish, because Marvel of today is but the empty shell of the Marvel that fans trusted 1 decade ago. Since then, Marvel has worked very hard at losing all the faith and trust fans worldwide had in the company and brand. With movies like Captain Marvel, The Marvels, Thor Love and Thunder, The Eternals, Black Panther, Keep the Water Mexicans Out of Wakanda Forever, and pretty much any Marvel Disney Plus series you care to mention. Marvel has changed away from the brand that would consistently deliver magic and thus overperform every time, into a preachy brand that speaks down to its audience and degrades the audience's favorite characters for the sake of propping up derivative female and otherwise diverse characters that on paper is supposed to make the audience feel seen and validated, but whom in reality no one responded to anywhere. Or put another way, girl bosses killed Marvel. If the brand is to have any future, it needs to steer clear of girl bosses of all kinds for a long time, as well as the associated messaging that has suffocated these movies for years now. Sure, the LA-based producers may think this messaging profound, but outside of a few select postcodes here and there, the rest of the world, on the whole, rejects that stuff wholesale. In summary, the last thing Marvel needs right now is any more gender bending of any kind. So what do we see on prominent display in the new Fantastic Four trailer? Well, none other than an insufferable girl boss gender bent Silver Surfer, who looks like the love child from a particularly steamy affair between Dot Matrix from Spaceballs and the T-1000. This isn't going to attract audiences. It isn't going to make anyone feel seen or validated. On the contrary, this kind of stunt casting drives audiences away. The presence of this character in the trailer will do nothing but signal to audiences worldwide that the good time they had on Deadpool and Wolverine last year was a fluke. Now the MCU is back to messaging, activism, and speaking down to the audience. Of course, Agatha all along and Captain America Brave New World reminded them of that already, but still, this will only drive the message home even further. If Disney really wants to bury the Marvel brand once and for all, like the BBC did Doctor Who, this is how to do it. Because rather than being an asset that will excite the audience, the female Silver Surfette is now the single biggest hurdle this movie has to overcome. Do you think the rest of the movie will be good enough that it can do that? And can you believe it already has been 10 years since Fant Four Stick? Were you watching this channel back then? Let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comments.